This meeting of the City of Eureka Springs City Council will come to order. Clerk will establish quorum.
Parker Raphael.
Here.
Ken Pelnall.
Here.
Karen Lindblad. Here. James DeVito.
Here.
Laney Balance.
Here.
Rich Berry.
Present.
Mr. Weaver's not here yet, that we know of. Okay, if everybody stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next will be approval of the agenda. Motion to discuss. Do a second?
Second.
Okay, I'd like to pull number 7 under new business. We're doing a little more research on that one. We've been hearing that some of the cities will not adopt this plan, so we're going to do more research on it. Yes, sir.
Two, I'd like to move new business item number 3 after public comments and before unfinished business.
Second.
We couldn't hear what he said. Up here on
New
this.
business item 3
Okay.
after public comments and before unfinished business.
After number 4.
New business 3 up to
After public comments and
After
before
public comment,
unfinished business.
To number 1.
Okay.
And the second one is to have a discussion on check signatories.
Second.
You want that added?
Item 11 under new business.
Really?
You won't like that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to add discussion under new business number 1, discussion of November's second meeting.
Discussion of November's second meeting. We also need to add the special meeting minutes for 11/6/12, special meeting that we had under approval of the minutes. Anybody else? Ms. Lindblad.
Right now, the discussion of the vacation water rates, I'd like to postpone that till the next meeting.
Second.
let's find it.
It's number 10.
Number 10?
Unfinished.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And under.
Okay.
I'm done. I've seen another hand up. Yes, sir.
I have a question for the city attorney. Is regarding voting at the table. With Mr. Raphael not living in his ward, how does that affect him voting at the table? In the new ward, I should say. This was asked to me today. And
With not living in the new ward, you mean?
that we established by ordinance. When we went, we redistrict the wards, which moved Parker Raphael from Ward 3 into Ward 2. We did that by ordinance.
Can't lose.
The proper thing to have done would have been to establish the wards to start at the next term of council. And I don't know if that was the way it was done or not, so that it wouldn't have affected it if Mr. Raphael no longer lives in the ward.
I
by
don't
virtue of the
remember
line
either.
change. It's typical for legislators when redistricting occurs on the state level that they take effect with the new term.
Absolutely.
So I think he's probably all right.
Does the clerk remember how we had that ordinance?
It wasn't addressed.
Yes, ma'am.
But you think it's probably all right if we didn't address it? I mean, we really can't expect someone, because the city moves the wards and they're already on council, to pick up and move to another ward.
I think it's probably an issue that should have been brought up if you realized at the time that Mr. Raphael was not going to be in his ward after the redistricting, so that it would have been clearly stated that the redistricting would take place after the expiration of his current term.
Can we do anything about it now?
I think we need to look at the ordinance to see how it was worded.
So how does that affect this meeting?
Mr. DeVito.
I've been aware through the newspapers where representatives have actually moved out of their ward, and they've still ruled that they were allowed to represent that ward. So I don't see it an issue.
Well, it has been an issue with this council before. This council's actually removed people from moving from their ward. But in this instance, the ward moved, not the person. So I'm less inclined to think that it disqualifies him, but it really should have been addressed at the time.
I'd like to remind council that that was not a legal action for the council to remove a sitting council person.
Would it be appropriate if the city attorney, regardless of what the outcome of the redistricting ordinance is to write a quick ordinance that would allow the ordinance to go into effect 1 January 2013? Since we have a potential of 2 or 3 more meetings during this, so there isn't a question raised. Unless we want to go with the city attorney's opinion as stated.
Without having the ordinance in front of me, I'm not sure that I could construct that in the next little while.
It's on the computer downstairs.
But if I had it and you want to delay the meeting, we could do that. But it's going to take a little bit of time.
Councilwoman, yes, sir.
I'm comfortable and confident that we can go ahead with no problems with this. This is a question that's been raised. It doesn't have any legal precedent just because somebody asked a question about this. So if this can be decided by the next meeting, that's fine. I really don't want to delay this meeting any longer than necessary.
I don't either. I just want to make sure what we're doing is legal.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect? Mr. Pena?
I move that we accept the city attorney's opinion that Mr. Raphael can maintain his seat at the table.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Okay, any further items on the agenda? Yes, sir.
Move to approve as amended.
For a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Next will be approval of the minutes for October the 22nd and for the special meeting on 11/6/12. We'll start with October 21st or 22nd. Motion to discuss. Mr. Pena.
Move to approve the minutes of October 22nd, 2012.
Second.
Any changes, deletions, any further discussion, anything at all? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next will be special meeting minutes for November the 2nd, 2012. Motion to discuss. Mr. Pena.
Move to approve special meeting minutes 11/6/12.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, excuse me, abstain. I wasn't here as well.
Okay. It's 4-2. Okay. Next will be Commission Committee Authority Reports, expired terms. Don't have anything under planning. Beverly will speak at some of the issues on the agenda under unfinished and new business. CAPC, nothing. Hospital, nothing. Parks, you have a vote on Miss Myrna Thaxton. She was nominated 10/18. Yes, sir.
I would move to approve the nomination of Myrna Thaxton to position 1 on Parks and Recreation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to bring attention to the table that under Chapter 12.04.01, Paragraph C, the commission shall be composed of 7 citizens who are qualified electors of the city. On Ms. Thaxton's application, are you a qualified elector? She says no.
Okay. That's that.
Okay, is Ms. Thaxton here? I don't know if she's here or not. I should clarify that issue. Yes? Okay.
I move to defer nomination to the next meeting to clarification.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's deferred. Nothing on HDC and nothing on cemetery. There's to be public comments. Thank you, Mark. All right, first on the list is Mr. Robert Jasinski. Okay, how you doing, sir? Good. There you go.
Bob Jasinski, 46 Hillside Avenue, back again with a repeat from what I said at the last time I was before you. First, I'd like to thank you all for your past service to the city, and I'd like to welcome in the new commissioners. But I'm going to read again the definition of tourist lodging. This has to do with weekly rentals again, and why these licenses should have never been issued. The code, as I stated previously, has a definition of tourist lodging, which is dwelling in which sleeping accommodations are provided for and offered to transient guests. There's also a provision in the code as to who can obtain these licenses or do business as a tourist license. And it says here, under conditions applying to specific uses. And under section 14.0802B, B&B, tourist lodging, bed and breakfast establishments, boarding houses, and tourist lodging may be allowed in residentially zoned districts as a conditional use. Now, why be a bed and breakfast if you're going to allow people to operate as weekly rentals and not get a CUP? Are these people going down to the county and telling the county tax collector that they're now commercial properties? I seriously doubt it. And let's see what they're really doing, what we're really talking about. Are these people really going to be weekly rentals? Well, I pulled an example. As a curiosity, I went on the internet earlier this evening, and I pulled out under the Google search for weekly rentals in Eureka Springs. As a matter of fact, I did pull one up. It says, we are a weekly rental that you can pick the time you plan to stay. But what about these other places here, which gives me no joy to identify the owners of, who stay here, that you can rent the place, and I'll leave this here with the clerk if anybody wants to see it. You can rent it per night, per week, or per month. Does that sound like a weekly rental? That's what we're really talking about. And as the city attorney will explain to you, in interpreting these ordinances, there's nothing to interpret here. The ordinances are clear and unambiguous. And as the laws of construction, statutory construction dictate, if the law is clear and unambiguous, there's nothing to interpret. And there's another rule of statutory construction, which I think does apply here, that laws should not be interpreted to lead to absurd results. Granting a license to somebody to operate as a weekly rental without a CUP in a residential community is a totally absurd result. And something should be done to tell these people that they should cease and desist forthwith from doing business. Because, in other words, I remember when Arsenic went down to planning and said, I'm building a house here and I want to use my owner's quarter and have a 6-unit there. And the planning said, no, because under the definition of a B&B, you're allowed 5 units. So why should Arsenic be a B&B anymore? He should say, wait a second, I got a CUP.
Your time's up, sir.
That's 3 minutes?
3 minutes, yes, sir.
So, can I just say one more thing? Contrary to what the CAP said, weddings are down for the year, and they've been down every month since it was reported that they were up, except for August. They're down 20 for the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next up is Ed Leswig. Mr. Leswig.
I was prompt as I could be.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
Oh, I hope so. My name is Ed Leswig. My residence is at 30 Eureka Street. I'm one of the 70% of Eureka Springs voters who qualifies for the designation of being a sheeple. My reason for appearing tonight is to comment on the lame duck members of council's efforts to change the way council members are elected. Before you vote on this insane idea, I would ask that one of you lame duckers give the citizens one valid reason why you are voting for this. Because you can should not be an acceptable, valid reason. I'd even accept I'm doing it because the ungroup wants it. If Eureka Springs were 25 times our current size, there would, in all probability, be ward-specific issues that would justify voting by ward. The issues that affect any of the wards in Eureka Springs are in all likelihood affecting the other wards as well. If this effort continues and the lame ducks get an approval of a third reading, I would ask the mayor, you listening, Mayor? I would ask the mayor to veto it and save the incoming council from the burden of overturning an ignorant and self-serving action of the current council. The council is supposed to work for all the citizens of Eureka Springs. Therefore, they should be voted by all the citizens of Eureka Springs. Please tell us how this effort benefits the citizens, or, as one of your lame ducks identifies, tell the sheeple, and they want to know. In closing, let me say that I'd rather be a sheeple than a lame duck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mickey Schneider. Get around. You're going to have to hold it.
That's better. Hi, Mickey Schneider, citizen here for the Veterans Wrap-Up. The hamburger cook-off on Friday was, we didn't see you, James, was small but very effective. It was greatly appreciated by a lot of people. The parade Saturday was beautiful. And yes, the beautiful, gorgeous Marine in dress blues carrying our flag was my son. And he actually made it this time after 4 years of trying. He made it. The parade was very, very good. We had a great time at the meet and greet over at Pied Piper. And it was a gorgeous day. The gun salute on Sunday was a little different. It started to sprinkle about 3 minutes before the salute. It was raining kind of hard during the salute, and then it poured. So we did have to cancel our entertainment in the park. We had desserts and music by Pine Mountain. We did have to cancel that, but the whole parking lot and all the sidewalks were full of people for the gun salute. So I want to thank everyone who helped in every way imaginable, whether it was Bob directing traffic or someone doing food, everybody who helped, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mostly, thank you, veterans. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here, and we appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Judith Leswig. How much, Judith? Is that going to be good for you? That ought to be working just right for you.
Okay.
You got 3 minutes.
Judith Leswig, 30 Eureka Street. I On November 1st, the ES Independent published my letter, which I would like to read to you. It is wonderful that Carnegie Library now has an annex that various organizations can use to hold meetings. Unfortunately, meetings usually last longer than 1 hour, and if you park near the library longer than 1 hour, you receive a $10 parking ticket. May I suggest the library issue a dated parking pass to those who are attending the meetings in the annex to preclude parking fines. We are there legally, and most are there probably not more than once a month for a meeting. On Tuesday, October 30th, the library offered a computer class from 9:30 to 11:30, which meant that those attending needed to leave the class halfway through to move their vehicle or receive a $10 parking fine. This is ludicrous. Wouldn't a dated parking pass solve the problem? The parking was moved from one side of Spring Street to the other, and I found out that nobody ever saw the 1 hour parking sign, so it went up after the parking was moved to the other side of the street. And if you park away from the library, you're parking in a residential area, and a lot of those people do not have driveways or garages. So you're taking up valuable space from the residents. And I think it would be wonderful if the city and the library worked together to develop a solution for their parking problem. Really?
Thank you, ma'am. I think. No, thank you. Next is Gwen Bennett. Hello, Gwen.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm an artist. I made a collage of various city and state ordinances. You can pass that around.
See if they're enough.
And I might use look over your shoulder.
Just use that.
Yeah. Is this right? Good evening. I'm speaking on weekly rentals, and I'm hoping you have the courage to prevent weekly rentals from becoming permanent in our city. Our ordinances are designed to protect neighborhoods, and when businesses are let into neighborhoods, it's a very cautious and serious thing. These current businesses that are in the neighborhoods moved in on one word, I believe. If you look at the top part of the sheet, you have the state code that basically says don't do business unless the city allows it or makes a special exception. Exceptions only for good cause. The definitions from the city code, these businesses are for transients. I sit and watch different people across the street every week. They stay no longer than 2 or 3 days, and so these are tourist lodgings. Under dwelling unit, the single word that got all this started is weekly. The Planning Commission asked that you delete weekly and redefine tourist lodging, which was not done in our city attorney's ordinance. Shall is mandatory, may is permissive. Under R1 permitted uses, the only permitted uses by right are dwelling single family, dwelling two family, and public use. They are claiming this is dwelling by a single family. I don't think so. It is not dwelling, this is transient rentals. If you look at our ordinance, 1880, we've forbidden tourist lodgings in R1 neighborhoods. They're forbidden. And if you look at Code 14.0812, conflicting provisions, in the event the provisions of this zoning chapter appear inconsistent with one another or other sections of the municipal code, the most restrictive provision shall govern. So I think it's a no-brainer. Just in case you don't have the courage to prevent these businesses in our neighborhood. I even went and tried to write an ordinance, since I saw the city attorney's ordinance was codifying these businesses into perpetuity. So I'm hoping you'll look at this carefully, and there are plenty of weekly rentals, and this doesn't just hurt residents. Here's an ad from the newspaper, 19 Jackson Street. It's zoned commercial, and this home is zoned commercial and can be used as a nightly lodging or a residential home. So the person selling this did not get to sell this to one of these weekly rentals, because the weekly rentals magically transform their property into commercial. So I really hope you'll think. Okay.
Thank you. I'll keep this one. Okay, Dr. Ken Brown. Good idea. Run the gauntlet here.
I'm Ken Brown. I live at 7 Cypress Point in Holiday Island, and I'm a former school superintendent, and I'm co-chairman of the committee to pass the bond issue a couple of years ago, and my co-chair is right here with me tonight, John Murphy. We're really concerned. I'm also a Board of Commissioner member of the Holiday Island Board of Commissioners, and so I know what you're going through as far as finances. I know $30,000 is not a drop in the bucket in your budget, but that's about the cost that Superintendent Turner is going to come in here in a little bit and tell you that the fixing of Lake Lucerne Road would take $30,000. A bid has been proposed already for that project, 820 feet from Green Hollow Road, where it intersects with Lake Lucerne Road. So when John Murphy and I and 17 other members of our committee were working on passing the bond issue, which, by the way, is 72% of the voters of all of Eureka Springs School District voted for, Grassy Knob, Holiday Island, and so forth, we didn't intend to pay any money for Eureka Springs streets. Those are your streets. Your tax dollars fund those streets, because your tax dollars can't be used for our streets. We have a lot of streets that need some work, but we don't come over here and ask you for money for our streets. But I think the street in front of the school that goes up to the entrance to the school, 820 feet, plus the removal and moving of the fire hydrant at the corner there so a bus can make a right turn toward the elementary and middle school, is something that the council needs to approve and approve tonight, because the blacktop crew is supposed to be here this week to do the parking lots and the curbs and so forth for the school. And as you know, it went below freezing last night. We don't have a whole lot of days left to do blacktopping, asphalting. So we had some people that were going to vote no on the school bond issue because of the condition of Lake Lucerne Road. They wanted the school built in some other place. They wanted the school built where the old school is. But we couldn't do that because we couldn't have school there in the last 2 years if we were tearing down the school to build a new building. So we told them that we were assured that the city council and the mayor and city fathers and mothers would take care of this problem. Here it is, 29 days left of school before the new school is open, and we have a road that's 17 feet wide, and we need 21 feet, 10 feet for each bus. Mirror to mirror, 10 feet, and 10 feet is 20. We want to make the road 21 feet. And as a former superintendent, I can tell you the most worrisome thing you have to deal with is school bus safety. Every child on that bus is golden. Every adult on that bus is golden. And we can't, jeopardize their safety. So please do the right thing and fix this road today.
Thank you, sir. Lamont Ritchie. Sorry. Get out of your way. Lamont, if you're out there, you're up. Here he comes.
Sorry, I didn't hear you call.
But you heard me the second time.
Certainly did. Good evening, Lamont Ritchie, resident of 138 Deer Lane. Concerned about exhausting my 3 minutes, I've chosen to write out my comments in advance. I'm here tonight to request that the City Council adopt a resolution before you tonight supporting marriage equality. In early 2007, the City Council adopted an ordinance that created a domestic partnership registry for the city. On its face, it did not have and still does not have any legal significance. Nonetheless, the DPR has served many couples, not all gay, but all desirous of having a public declaration of their commitment to one another. Tonight's resolution will not have any legal significance either, but it will put you on record as supporting marriage equality. In 2007, few had any realistic hope that within their lifetimes they would see marriage opening up to gay couples as well as straight. Since then, Don't Ask, Don't Tell has been repealed. DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, has been declared unconstitutional by 2 federal appeals courts and may well be taken up by the U.S. Supreme Court later this month, along with the federal appeals court finding that California's Prop 8 was unconstitutional. And last Tuesday, 3 states voted to allow same-sex marriages, while the 4th defeated a constitutional amendment that would ban them. A younger electorate, conservative fiscally, but progressive on social issues, is gaining in numbers. But aside from that, more people in the country in general are looking at same-sex marriage and wondering what the fuss is all about. To be sure, there is the religious argument, and I respect the right of those who choose to make it, though I disagree with the conclusion that someone else's religious belief should deny me and my partner of nearly 28 years the choice to enter into a legal relationship that automatically carries with it such benefits as survivorship rights. We had to have legal documents prepared that will dispose of our property at our deaths in the way we desire, and to allow the other to act on our behalf in the event of illness or incapacity, while heterosexual couples, from the date of marriage, are bestowed that right. And regardless of what documents we prepare, neither of us has any say-so in the handling of the other's remains at the time of death, while heterosexual couples, from the date of marriage, are bestowed that right. Brian Brown, president of the National Organization for Marriage, has said that finding either the Defense of Marriage Act or California's Prop 8 unconstitutional would be the equivalent of imposing gay marriage on the populace. In actuality, same-sex marriage will not be imposed on anyone who does not want to take advantage of it. Further, in those states where same-sex marriage has been recognized, exemptions have been enacted to prevent clergy from being compelled to perform same-sex marriages. Eureka Springs was the first and only...
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Walsh. Michael, you're up.
Hi there, my name is Michael Walsh, Lake Lucerne Road. I'm here in support of Lamont's resolution to make Eureka Springs the first city in Arkansas to endorse equality marriage. I'd like to give you just a few reasons for doing so. First, the names of 700 individuals who support the idea. I'll pass those around, including residents of Eureka Springs, visitors from 59 Arkansas cities, and 15 other states. Former Mayor Dana Joy, State Representative Kathy Webb, and more than 50 local businesses. Second, Austin, Texas, adopted a similar resolution in September. We aren't breaking new ground here, we're just trying to catch up. Third, our distinctive and diverse resident and tourist demographics. They know Eureka Springs is the only city in Arkansas that can do this, and the one city in Arkansas that should. It's good public relations, it's good advertising. Fourth, our track record. Non-discrimination employment policy, family leave policy, health insurance policy, and domestic partnership registry. Much to Lamont's credit and the credit of previous city councils. The proposed resolution is the next logical step. Fifth, to grow the local economy and create jobs. Civil rights issues are economic issues. As the marriage capital of the South, we could take advantage of a brand new market the moment it's available. Consider a few figures relating to potential. More than 70,000 new legal marriages in 6 states in the District of Columbia. 3 new states were added last week. In New York, in the past year, 8,200 civil marriages. 10% of all marriages in that city, 200,000 out-of-towners, $259 million in spending, $16 million in taxes. Massachusetts, a boost to the economy of more than $100 million. Iowa, 4,500 marriages, $13 million in spending, $93,000 in taxes, 70 new tourism jobs. By the way, in the first year of marriage, equality marriage in Iowa, 59% of their couples came from out of state. It's not right. The couples are going there from here. That needs to change. We can start tonight. Sixth, our domestic partnership registry. It is proven that if you build it, they will come. Seventh, in Eureka Springs alone, there are at least 100 to 200 couples who would line up outside tomorrow if marriage equality were available. You know them as well as I do. Zeke and Dick, Bill and John, Lamont and Steve, Kendra and Kim, Trella and Marie, Walter and Lee, Kelly and Leslie, Sunday and Lori, Melody and Sydney, dozens and dozens more. Some of them voted for each of you. Tonight you have a chance to vote for them and the thousands that are lined up behind them. You can close out your council term on an upbeat note and a spirit of unity. You can jumpstart history. I hope that you will. Thank you.
Michael Boardman. Yes, sir. You're on deck.
Michael Boardman, 241 County Road 3174. If you don't know where that is, that's at the end of Lake Lucerne Road. It's time to widen the road. The numbers have been thrown around, 820 feet or whatever. It needs to be widened at least down to the first entrance where two buses are going to be passing. It's time to do that. We've got a really nice school. The bids we've gotten are probably pretty realistic. I help build roads for a living. That's what I've been doing for the last 20 years. You can do it. I wouldn't worry too much about the timeline, but I think you need to commit to doing it. Then let the professionals take care of when the time is right to do it. You've got about 5 weeks before the new semester starts. In the big picture, this is a drop in the bucket, and it sends a good signal from this city saying that we're proud of our new school and we're willing to make it safe for the buses to pass. That's what needs to be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Jerry Landrum. Hello, Jerry.
Hi, Morris. Good evening. Jerry Landrum, 19 Kimberling. I want to thank Council for adopting the Climate Action Plan last summer. Our committee's been meeting monthly and gotten great help and support from the Mayor's office. Glenna Booth is liaison to our committee, and we appreciate everything. It's been a pleasure working with these people. This is about the energy codes. I made up a little handout information sheet, and hopefully it got in your boxes about a week or so ago. Does everybody have that? There's a pass one around in case somebody doesn't. Each way there. So our climate action plan calls for us to do a little bit better than the state mandate, and the state mandate right now is this Arkansas Energy Code. They got it dated 2011, but it's actually based on the International Energy Conservation Code from 2003. So they're trying to get the whole state, every municipality that issues building permits, at least up to that level. But I did call the Arkansas Energy Office, and they're perfectly happy for municipalities that want to do better than their baseline. And the city of Fayetteville has recently enacted and adopted the International Energy Conservation Code from 2009. And they did a fairly detailed study I've got a link to our committee's website, esclimate.org. You can download that study that Fayetteville did. They've got their ordinances in there. They adopted the IECC 2009 plus the addition of a HERS rating. The HERS rating stands for Home Energy Rating System. And that's a really good system for advancing the building science. You get a good, tight, energy-efficient home that's rated at 100, and then the rating goes down from there to 0, which would be a zero-energy home, a home that produces as much energy as it uses. The Energy Star homes come in with a HERS rating of 85. I want to thank our building inspector, Bobby Ray. He spent a lot of time looking at all this stuff. He's been talking to the builders, and excellent resource, and he can give you good advice on this. Our committee met last Thursday, and we would like for y'all to go with the IECC 2009 code, with or without the HERS rating, and that would add a couple $1,000s to the cost of building a new house, but that's right in the range of what was listed in our Project 1 and our Climate Action Plan. But the thing about it is, in their study, there's an energy savings that results from that. So over a 30-year mortgage, there's actually a net income for the homeowner. So the 2009 code, it actually pays. It doesn't cost, it pays over the long haul. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Jack Moyer?
This doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Request that Jerry stay when we deal with the issues.
Okay.
I'm Jack Moyer with the Crescent and Basin Park Hotels, and I live on Holiday Island Drive. It's been a while since I addressed this body, in fact, over a couple of years, but this is an important issue relating to the school district that I was pleased to lend my time to and to join the crowd that's out here to speak. The Crescent and the Basin Park generate about $202,507 in city sales tax. This is exactly the issue that we hope to apply that money towards. The school district has done a large investment. It's a economic boom for our area as far as economic development, and they have done what they were supposed to do up into the street. Second, it's clearly an issue of public safety. Is there a larger issue? Then just step back and take a moment to think if there happened to be a fire. What would be the access to the high school? You have a 17-foot road, your code is 20 foot. It's clearly a public obligation. The other thing, is there really a bigger issue than what's in the best interest of public safety for our kids? Take a moment and think of the young drivers, 16-year-olds, that are now going to navigate Highway 23 South, turn left onto Greenwood Hollow, and then turn right onto Lake Lucerne Road. And ask yourself the question, are those roads prepared for those young drivers? I think the answer is pretty clear. So I encourage you tonight to look at an emergency clause to adopt $30,000 to fund this project. We've evaluated the budget. There's $100,000 sitting at a CD gaining marginal interest. Ask the question, $30,000 to fund public safety for our kids, or cash in a CD and do the right thing. I ask that you guys consider doing the right thing for the kids and the public safety interests for our city. Thank you.
Kathy Lavender? How are you? You got 3 minutes.
Mayor Pate and council members, my name is Kathy Lavender. I live at 24 Flint Street, about a block away. Some of you may recognize my name as your high school principal. When I was offered the job, I didn't have to move in town. I chose to move here. And what I would like to tell you tonight is I can no longer answer the questions that my students at the high school are asking me. And that is, Miss Lavender, doesn't anyone care about our new school? And when I answer them, I say, what do you mean by that? Of course people care. We built this beautiful new high school just for you. And they say, but Miss Lavender, they don't want to do anything about the road. Isn't that their responsibility? And I can no longer tell them that, no, it's not their responsibility, because I do believe it is, and I know that you believe so as well. I have been back and forth to the new high school a number of times, and I'm tired of dodging the potholes, and I myself have had trouble getting out of the way of some of the construction trucks that pass by me. So I ask that you all do the right thing. You do the right thing for our students in this community. And as a taxpayer, I want to be proud to say that I live in the town of Eureka Springs. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That'll conclude public comments. All right, next on the agenda is number 3, new business, which is moved up during the agenda. Approval. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second.
Floor is open. Mr. Turner?
I believe Mr. Turner is here to give a presentation in regards to the request.
Somebody will. Mr. Turner, would you please come in, sir? Hey.
Hello.
Please state your name, sir.
My name is Curtis Turner. I'm Superintendent of Schools at Eureka Springs. Mayor Pate, Council, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and to present to you tonight. I really don't think there's a whole lot of information that I can give you that you don't already have concerning our concerns on Lake Lucerne Road. My primary concern is that you approve the widening and the resurfacing of Lake Lucerne Road. The road's not wide enough for buses and cars to meet. This has been a concern that we've had for quite some time. From talking with folks, I think there's been discussion for many months and even years, I guess, as far as the condition of the road. Bottom line, Lake Lucerne Road is just not safe. I don't think, and as well as many of my board feels, that the road will accommodate the existing traffic that's going to be placed on it in January 2013. I understand, having dealt with construction for many, many years and school projects, I understand that there's different things that can be done at different times of the year. Pavement, I understand, is one of those issues. I've talked to contractors who's currently paving our parking lot as we speak, or getting ready to, I should say. And I understand that there's issues as far as temperature and time and being able to lay this stuff where it would adequately bond and hold together. Now, obviously, we're asking you to approve it, approve the entire project, which is going to run approximately $30,000. But understandably, the time is basically our enemy at this point. That being said, what we're requesting not only would be the approval be made, but we're requesting that at least temporarily, which would give you some relief as well as the school district some relief, is that we prepare the shoulders to widen those out a couple of feet on each side, which would give us approximately 21 feet, which eventually we know that would be safe as far as getting buses in and out, and then with the intent of coming back in the spring and going ahead and laying an overlay or asphalt on top of that, which would, and talking with contractors, I think equal to about 1.5 inches. We're also requesting that there's a fire hydrant right on the corner. We're requesting that be moved back 6 to 8 feet, primarily because we can't turn buses to the right. If you pull back up Lake Lucerne Road, it's going to be very difficult, and I personally feel that eventually that fire hydrant will be hit, not by intent, but just mere fact of where it's at. I've driven a bus. If you've ever driven around a school bus or a bigger vehicle, you will understand what I'm talking about. So I ask that you move that as well as widen the road. I think that the request to pave the road or widen the road and pave it for about 820 feet will only take us down past the second gate. I do think that this can be done. I think it's achievable. I don't really know the protocol as far as being able to get something done on an emergency basis, but as I said, we are currently beginning to pave the parking lot. If you were down there today or anywhere around, you saw that they're preparing that. I do think that it would be very easy for them to come on out the gate and come up the road and prepare it. Folks, let me just say this. I don't want to share a lot of statistics, a lot of other information, because I know you're hit with a lot of things, just as me and my school board is hit with continually. But our school is a showplace for this community. And if you haven't been down there, then I think you need to go at least make a trip, and I would invite you to do so. It's a site that I take great pride in. I have since January, since I've been here. With that said, I encourage you to pass a resolution to fund this project, both with a temporary solution that I've mentioned, as well as a permanent fix, which would include new asphalt to our road to the new school, hopefully this spring. This time I would entertain any questions with any of the handouts that you've had or any other comments that's been made. I'll be glad to try to address those as well. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have had calls from people who have a problem with the fact that the school district passed the law to create the school, but the school district is not paying for the improvements. There was a man here just a few minutes ago from Holiday Island, from Grassy Knob, all these other places that are in the school district, and yet the burden for fixing this road, because the school is there, is falling on the city of Eureka Springs. And I've had quite a few calls from taxpayers in the city of Eureka Springs that do not think that it's fair that the school district voted the school in, but Eureka Springs taxpayers have to pay for it. And right, it isn't right that Holiday Island doesn't ask us to repair their roads, but through putting the school there and them being part of our school district, they're asking this city to bear the brunt of fixing a road that wouldn't have to be fixed if the school was there. And these people are pretty unhappy about it. So why wasn't that presented to the voters when they voted to say that it was going to cost only the city of Eureka Springs $30,000 to fix this road?
That question I couldn't answer because I wasn't here at the time. The actual millage back in 2009, I believe, somewhere in there when the dialogue was had about the new school being, or the millage for the new school.
Oh, well, these people feel like a fast one was pulled on them because they had no idea that only Eureka Springs would be paying for this. And there are people in Eureka Springs who are waiting to have their streets fixed and have been waiting for a long time. And now all of a sudden the city's going to spend $30,000 that the citizens didn't know we were going to have to spend. And this council only got this information at the last meeting when this has been planned for a long time.
I can understand your concerns, but let me just add this. From past experiences with millage campaigns, it takes the entire district to vote. In voting for that, the patrons of the district were voting to build a new building and to improve the site that the building's built on. It's what it was engineered and architected to do, and I think the district has done that. Now, where the problem comes in is the site itself was built, and then once it gets to a street, then it becomes a city municipality that has to take care of that, not the school district. So I don't think a fast one was pulled on anyone, ma'am, by any means. As I said, I wasn't here during that discussion, but in all honesty, if a school district could expend local funds to help with that, I would be more than willing to step up and say, let's partner up here, let's do what we can. But when I find in our AG's opinion and was told by the department and others that we cannot use those monies, then that pretty much thwarted that effort. So right now, as I said, it's just a safety concern that I have more than anything
For
else.
one thing, an AG's opinion is only an opinion, and it hasn't gone through court. And from what I read in the information that was given to us, there have been some school districts that have done that. And you all keep talking about partnering, but you're really not partnering because the city is bearing the burden. Did the school district pay the city for the land which the school is on?
That I could not answer. I don't know.
That was district property.
It was already district property.
Okay, because I have been told that in the past that the city of Eureka Springs donated the land that the old school is on, that when the elementary school was put out there, the city paid $35,000 to put a sewer system out there, which wouldn't have had to be out there because if the school hadn't been there, and now they're coming back and asking $30,000 more. And that's a lot of money.
Yes, ma'am.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, you all are so concerned about the safety. Do the students on the school buses, do they have seat belts?
Do the buses have seat belts?
Mm-hmm.
No, ma'am.
Because you keep saying safety, 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 but the kids don't have seat belts.
It's
And
not a
that's
requirement by law.
It's a pretty unsafe thing.
There are high backs. The seating is prepared on buses where the backs are high enough to take the place of the seat belt. So currently, they're not required under Arkansas law.
Okay, well, for right now, I don't have any more questions if somebody else does.
Sir.
Can you tell me how much the school paid the city in building permits, water and sewer fees, and capacity fees?
Roughly $29,000. And again, that's not a figure that
$29,467.45 in permits alone.
Mr. Powell, you had your name.
Of which this table disapproved even given any consideration. And as a member of the building committee at the time, I do believe, if my memory serves me correct, this was brought up early on in the discussions of the new school. There were many meetings that were open to the public, and anyone who has the audacity to say that they were misinformed, something was pulled, whatever. I even was in a conversation where it was stated that, yes, we'll fix the road, but we don't have any money. That was the only excuse.
Ms. Limbaugh.
Was the public informed that the city would have to pay for the road?
It's discussed at the meetings.
Okay. How many students are in the high school?
in the high school. What's your current enrollment?
193.
193.
Okay, 193. Of that number of students, how many drive to school? Because I've gone by the parking lot at the old school, and it's full of cars, and I know it's not all teachers. So how many kids are we talking, high school kids, that are going to be taking the bus?
Okay. I would say probably about 40 students driving, and then faculty another 27, so 67.
Okay. So I had a constituent call and ask me why the students at the high school could not walk to the front of the elementary school and get on the buses there with the elementary kids, since they all ride the same buses.
And park where?
Well, where do the buses pick up the elementary school kids now?
Well, where would if the high school students drove there to get on the bus there, where would they park?
Why would they drive to school to get on the bus?
Well, I think we're talking about two different things.
Yeah, I'm talking about the kids.
You're talking about just bus riders.
Yeah, kids that
ride
go to
bus.
school every day on a bus.
Correct. You're saying could they just walk up the hill and load there versus loading down under the hill, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Possibility. You know, I don't think that was the way it was. Personally, I don't think it was the way it was designed originally. And then secondly, you know, we have a lot of congestion on Greenwood Hall Road on a normal day, loading buses, loading our little ones up. I do think I could foresee some problems trying to get all those kids up the hill and get them loaded up. I hadn't thought about that scenario.
In the rain and the
Yes.
snow.
That's such a congested area right now. You're just exacerbating the problem by pushing more kids and more buses into an already congested area. And that still doesn't address the fact that there's going to be times where you're going to be needing to load stuff onto buses for out of city games and things like that, that you need the proximity to the high school. I just find it, the school's there. It's a big investment in the community that the district has made. There's a lot of people earning their salaries there. That's also a benefit to the community. The